inshallah. Hey, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Endowments, al-waqf in the Hanbali school. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalam ala Rasul Kareem. Rabbana taqabbal minna zinna ilma wa hikma wa huda. أسأل الله أن يوفقنا لما يحب ويرضى ينفعنا ما علمنا بما ينفعنا اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا اللهم آتنا نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم ارحم شيوخنا أما بعد. All the praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Him is all the things that happen in the present and in the future. That all happens by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the best of us and forgive our faults. Ameen ya Allah. And may the peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's who we look for our teachings and our example. Allah's final prophet and messenger, and the knowledge that's all coming through Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us from our Shaykh and ulama, going back to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So today we're going to cover the waqf. Waqf refers to the endowments, and what that is okay, maybe you can read number one and it'll explain what that is.
It is holding the principle and distributing its fruits.
Yes. So principle, that's how I translated it, but principle, maybe it's not a good translation, but it's holding on to something that gives benefit and keeping possession of that, or keep holding on to that, and whatever benefit that it gives out, then you distribute that to the people in sadaqah. It's referring to that. You know, like for example, it's going to mention it later on, like for example, if a person, they set up a spring with water coming out as a waqf, then what happens? The waqf stays there in the possession of as a waqf, but all that water that goes, it gets distributed to the people in the future. Or like for example, a farm, for example, a person, they put that in the waqf, so they keep the trees and the land, but the fruits it gets distributed to for sadaqah. So that's what it means, that you hold on to the principle. The principle is the main thing that you have, and the outcome of it, the fruits that it comes out with, you distribute it in the waqf, as in charity in the fruits. That's what it refers to, the waqf. Is that clear on that definition?
Yes.
What that is? And usually there's two main types of people they do, but there's other types also. He's going to talk about that in the future, the two main types. And usually that's a spring with water that gets distributed to people, and it's a masjid. Those are the two main ones. People, they build that as a waqf, and then people, they utilize it, and then, you know, and it keeps going. But the spring stays in possession of the waqf. It's not given to the poor person or as a charity, and the masjid stays in possession, and just people, they pray that. That's like the two examples he gives. Okay, so you read number two.
It is allowed for every principle allowed to sell that benefits continuously while the principle remains.
Yes, so it's allowed for everything that could be sold. In other words, the buildings and, you know, other property and things like that, where it produces things, and there's an outcome from it, and the people, they distribute what comes out from it.
Oh, yes.
But the original thing, it still remains. And he said it's allowed to be, the waqf can be anything that could be sold. Like you can sell a spring, for example, you can sell a well, you can sell a house, you can sell those things, but those that remain as an endowment, and then what the outcome from it, that's what's distributed as charity. That's what it refers to. So that's allowed for anything that can be sold, where it remains continuously as an endowment, as the waqf, and then the outcome from it, the fruits from it, that's what's distributed. Okay, all right, okay.
Yes.
Good, number three.
Besides, that is not allowed like trade goods, food, and spices.
Yes. So if you have trade goods, you can give it in sadaqah, but it doesn't remain. So that's not a waqf. You know, it's not an endowment. Because you have the food, you give it to people, it's gone, right? There's nothing left of it.
Yeah.
Trade goods, if you have things that people, they buy and sell, people, they sell it, it's gone. It's no longer there. But if you have like a stall, for example, that could be a waqf, because in a person, they can do that, and they can utilize a stall and give the things that outcome from it.
Like a school.
Yes, like a school is a good example. Food also, give the food, is gone, so it's no longer remaining. But if you have like a tree, for example, that produces apples, then the tree could be the waqf that remains, and then the fruits that come out of it, you can give to that in charity. So the tree would be considered the waqf, but the fruits on the tree are not waqf, because
Oh,
it's
okay.
gone. And spices, spices you give it to somebody, you no longer have anything left, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's what he says as an example. So those things are not allowed because it doesn't remain continuously, and the outcome of it goes to the people. So is that clear on that, on the
Yes.
definition? Okay, inshallah. Let's go to number 4.
Number 4, it is not correct except for piety and kindness.
Yes. So these things here, again, you have to have the right intention. You leave that waqf, that endowment, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to help the people out. That's what it's for. Not for showing off or not for glorifying somebody or something like that. But that's the other thing for the waqf. It's got to be for piety, in the right intention for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's got to be to help the people and not to do the bad things to the people. That's what that refers to. So that's another issue of the waqf. Okay, to read number 5.
Like what was narrated on the authority of Umar, that he said, O Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I obtained wealth in Khaybar, and I have never obtained wealth that is more precious to me than it. What do you command me to do with it?
Yes. So what happened is when they got into battles and wars with other people that attacked them, so they defeated the place in Khaybar. And what happens is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the Muslims, when they go into a battle, that they can keep the spoils of the battle, the things that are remaining after the battle. In the past, that wasn't allowed for people. And what they used to do is they used to gather it all together. Then a fire would come down and destroy everything.
Oh, wow.
But Allah made it easier for the people for the Ummah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so they were able to distribute it with each other. So that's what happened when they had the Khaybar. Umar had his share. So that's what that's talking about in the Khaybar, where the people there they were at war with the Muslims. They attacked the Muslims, and they defeated them, and they got so much of the booty and so much of the ghanima from that. So then Omar was asking about his share. What should he do with it? I mean, read the next one. What do you command me to do with it, right?
He said, if you wish, I would keep the principal and give besides that in charity, its principal may not be sold, given away as a gift, or inherited.
Yes, so that's what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu said about the waqf, that the thing that Omar he got, if he wanted to give it in charity, then it would be something that produces things, and the waqf would remain as a waqf, remain as an endowment, in the future, in the future, in the future. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about this waqf, what happens if something is a waqf, something is an endowment, then what happens? It cannot be sold. It cannot be may not be sold, because then the waqf is destroyed. Then if you sell it to somebody, right, and then it cannot be given as a gift, and it cannot be inherited. So it stays remaining, benefiting people in the long run. Even nowadays, you had Uthman radiallahu anhu, he gave a well in waqf. So even until today's day and age, they benefit from it, and the people they benefit from it, and that's the waqf that Uthman they gave. It's mentioned about that in Medina. Okay, inshallah. In the last part, he said Umar.
He said, Umar gave it in charity to the poor, to relatives, to free slaves, in the way of Allah, to wayfarers, and to guests.
Yes. So this thing that he had, the income that it produced, then he gave it to all those people in charity with the income it produced. But the waqf itself, the principle itself, just continued and stayed and continued producing income and things like that he gave to the poor and the needy afterwards. That's a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are statements from Sheikh Ibn Qudama, and who was a main student, was a big student of Ahmad Ibn Hanbal in the Hanbali school. So he mentions these points over here, based on the rulings, the Imam, the Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad. So all these things are based on the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, inshallah. So you read number 6.
There is no blame on the one who is in charge of it if he eats from it in moderation and feeds a friend who is not wealthy from it.
Yes. So the person that takes care of the waqf, he's allowed to utilize it in moderation, not in what you call it, not overdoing it, but in moderation, in justice. He's about to do that. because he spends the time and the effort in maintaining it and taking care of it, so he's allowed to be compensated for that, a reasonable amount, not one that's too much. And then also he can give it to a friend who is not wealthy, a poor person that's a friend,
Poor person.
because then the person earns a reward from it, from the waqf that one gave it. He gives it to a poor person, even though that's a friend of the person that's maintaining it. That person will still earn a reward for it. That's what the Sheikh says about the person that takes care of the waqf, takes care of the endowment afterwards, as long as he does it, justly and reasonably, not something mistake. Okay, to read number 7.
The endowment is rather by saying and doing that enjoys it, like building a masjid and calling to the prayer in it, and places of water given to people.
Yes, so he gives 2 examples here. Like if a person, they built a masjid, then people, they come and pray the salat over there. So the masjid stays, but the benefit it gives, it keeps continuing over the ages. And like another one is like building a place where water is like a well where water comes out, and people will come, they utilize the water, so that well stays as an endowment, and the water, it's distributed to people, so the reward continues. That's what that's referred to. The waqf, the endowment, gives those 2 examples. I think I mentioned that earlier, as the example for the
water. Yes.
Yes, like a place that they give to the water people, and people, they earn a reward for that, because assisting somebody on it. Read number 9.
It is not allowed to sell it, the endowment, except if all the benefit of it ceases.
Yes. So if a person, they have something, an endowment, and it's supposed to benefit the people from it, but if it's not benefiting the people anymore, then then a person, they can sell it. But if it's benefiting the people, they can't sell it. It has to continue to be for the purpose of the endowment, and not to be sold. But if it stopped giving benefit, he mentions that in a later one. If it doesn't give benefit to anybody anymore, then a person, they can. That's what's mentioned in number 9. Read that one.
In which case, it's sold and something else is bought in its place.
Yes. So in that case, if the endowment is not benefiting anybody, then they can sell that and then buy something else to put in its place that will benefit the people. Like for example, let's say somebody, they had a well, and they put it in the middle of nowhere. I mean, in the beginning there were some people taking it, but eventually everybody left. So the well is there, and nobody is utilizing it. Nobody's benefiting from the water. So in that case, they can sell that well, and then build another well in another location where there's more people, where it benefits the people. That's the point about that, inshallah. Okay. Read number 10.
If a geriatric house is not suitable for battle, it is sold and buy what is suitable for battle.
Yes. So that's another example of a person, they give a horse as a waqf, and they say use this horse to go in the ghazwa, in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the battle. And then what happens if that horse is like no longer geriatric, becomes old and unable to be strong? Then a person, they can sell that horse and then get another one to replace it, and then use that one for the benefit. That's an example the Sheikh gave, Sheikh Ibn Qudama, as another example of the waqf. Okay, read number 11.
A masjid, if it is not beneficial in its place, it is sold and relocated to a place that benefits.
Yes, so that's like the example given in the well. The same thing could be in a masjid. You have a place where there's some people, so a person, they built a masjid there, and people used to come to pray, but then eventually nobody comes there anymore, right? There's no attendance at all. And they can sell it and then open up, open a masjid in a different location to make up for it. You can do that, inshallah. Let's give another example. Okay, number 12. Did you read that one?
The endowment returns to distribution and condition and arrangement.
Yes. So if a person that sets up the endowment, the waqf, he puts particular ways that it's supposed to, who should the distribution be given to, how much should be given to it, and the different conditions and arrangements and things like that. So then when you get a new location for it, a new thing for it, you sell this one, then you buy a new one, then it stays the same arrangement that you had for it, and the same conditions and the same distributions that you have for it. That's the point that he has on the waqf, on the endowment. Entry number 13.
It includes and excludes whom it wishes according to
Yes,
designation.
designation. Yes.
Designation.
So somebody they set up the waqf, they can decide who it's given to. If it's given to the poor people,
Oh,
or if
okay.
it's given to some person or some group of people. Then when the new one is set up, then it stays on the same conditions, same designations on who it's distributed to, what it's designated to, and no, and if a person they want to exclude things on the waqf, like that might say, uh, let's see, like a good example. Mm, yeah, like let's say somebody they set up a water hole, right?
Yes.
And they say don't give any of this water to horses. Don't give any of this water to horses. Then you have to follow that rule because you said only give it to people, don't give it to animals. Then that's how the person set it up. So then if you sell that one, open up a new one, then that condition still continues and remains. Okay. Number 14, he talks about that more later about being equal and things like that. Number 14?
And likewise, the supervisor and the expenses of it according to the condition of the endover.
Yes.
And
So what happens to the person that set up, so waqf, like for example, let's say that he gives a house in the waqf, a house. And he says, make this as an endowment, people benefit from it, from the charity, then you have to have somebody to be a supervisor of the house. And then he might get paid for his services. So the same thing goes with if the house is no longer giving benefit to anybody, then they buy another house. Then the expenses and things like that they're set up to be the same way. The supervisor gets the same expenses that he used to get it before in the other waqf, according to the conditions. So when you have the waqf, it's not just like give it to everybody, do everything. The person that gave it, we might have specific conditions on who it's given to, how it's run, things like that. So a person they have to go by that, inshallah. Okay, number 15.
If the endowment is dedicated to the son of so and so, and then the poor, the male and female will be equal unless the endower made a reference to some.
Yes. So what it's saying that if the person said that this endowment, this waqf, is to benefit the children of this man, right?
Children, yes.
Children of this man, then what happens then? And then after that, if the children if he doesn't have any children, then it's given to the poor. Then what happens? The children of the man they're treated equally. The male and the female are treated equally, uh, unless the person that made the condition give it to this specific person, not to the other children. Then you have a person that have to go with that with a preference to some. Let's say a person they set up an endowment, and they say let's give it to the children of Muhammad. Muhammad is a poor person or something like that. He has children, so let's give it to his children. Then they're all treated equally on what's distributed. But let's say the person give it to this child first because he's handicapped or he's sick. Then give it to the next child. He's poor. Then give it to the next child because he's poor. Then a person they have to go on that particular order because he's specified on who to give it to. So you have to go by that, inshallah. But if he didn't specify, then you treat everybody equally. No. That's the example the Sheikh he said. No. Okay, to read number 16.
If none remains of them, it goes to the poor.
Yes. If what happened is the people that were supposed to receive the endowment, they're no longer around, they all died or they left or something like that, you can't give it to them, then you give the benefits or the fruits of the endowment to the poor people, give it to them in a charity if they're no longer there to accept it. Okay, is that clear on the point?
Yes.
Okay, inshallah. Let's go to number 17.
When the endowment does not specify, it is necessary to include them and treat them equally if some are not preferred.
Yes. So what happens in endowment to the person that set up the endowment, that gave the endowment, then he says just give it to these people or just give it like to the poor, then everybody's treated equally. There's not preference over one person over the other. So you can't do that. You have to treat everybody equal. On that, if he didn't specify on who it goes to, okay, then treat everybody equal, the same for every person, not to prefer one person over the other person when they give the distribution. If it's just set, if that's how the endowment was set for.
It's being justice,
Mm-hmm.
It's being just towards everybody.
Well, he didn't say to give it to a specific person, so
Oh
you treat
yeah.
everybody equally. If you prefer somebody, then that's not appropriate to do so. And that's what Prophet Muhammad said for the
So
children. If you're a person they have children, it's not appropriate to give preference to one child over the other child, to treat everybody the same, inshallah. No, normally speaking, that's the case for it, inshallah.
yes.
So the same thing with the endowment. The dower, he didn't say, to give it to this specific person, and he just give it to treat everybody equally, inshallah. And that's the last point. If he said specifically, then you got to go by that, inshallah.
Yes.
Yes. Remember the last one?
If it is specified in the term of the endowment, it is allowed to give preference to some of them over others, and to single out one of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what this means is somebody they set up an endowment, and let's say a person they have, let's say, normally speaking, give it to the poor, but the person says give it to this specific poor person. No, we'll go to this specific poor person. Then the person they have to follow those guidelines.
Oh
Then they
yeah.
can say that because a person that set up an endowment said to give it to this specific poor person, that goes to this specific poor person. Or the people that can't come along and say, oh, you got to give it to us equally because he didn't set up the endowment for that purpose.
Yes.
So that's the case for it. So that's what he said. That's what the endowment is. When they say in Arabic, the waqf, the endowment is a term for it. That's a rule for it. Okay, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. And the thing is that, when the person passes away, then it should remain for that purpose, even after the person they pass away. That's why it says it's not sold or inherited or given as a gift. So it remains producing the benefit, the something that comes out, the fruits that come out, and then, it's given as charity in the future with those fruits that come out. All right, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. So let's stop over here. If I said anything that was from the ilm, then taken. Anything from myself, disregarded. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.